Mucin, the body's natural gut protector. It forms a protective barrier, sealing gaps in the intestinal lining. Kefir power, tighten that gut wall. Occludin and claudin. With kefir, proteins strengthen, reinforcing your gut.
In this video, I'm going to be talking about the effects of curcumin and turmeric on zinc levels, as well as how this influences copper and many other functions that copper is interacting with. Now, turmeric can actually help reduce excessive zinc levels. That's important because if zinc is excessive, it can lead to immune system dysfunction and a down regulation, as well as closed chromatin. If chromatin is closed, then gene transcription factors for many important things in the body will not work, since they can't enter to interact with the DNA, because the DNA is inside the chromatin. So curcumin has been shown to chelate metal ions such as zinc and iron, and reducing zinc availability to zinc-dependent proteins. As a result of curcumin doing this, it can indirectly reduce the transcription of some oncogenic and stress adaptive genes. Oncogenes are basically related to cancer growth and metastasis. Curcumin binding and reducing zinc is critical because cancer cells often exploit elevated zinc flux, but disrupting zinc signaling with curcumin can actually sensitize tumors to apoptosis. Now, that's actually programmed cell death, reducing the number of cancer cells and tumors. But this is where zinc balance is critical and important, because normal immune cells, they also need zinc as well, and immune cells will be affected by zinc deprivation if there is too much binding or lowering of zinc by excessive curcumin. So balance matters, uh, because excessive zinc suppression can impair T cells and macrophages. In the process of trying to reduce cancer by reducing zinc, it can also weaken the immune system. Important not to reduce zinc too much, because zinc is critical for the thymus and the integrity of the thymus. So the thymus is like the training camp for T cells. Thymus supports T cell maturation. Thymic hormone, or the hormone for the thymus, is also zinc dependent. Zinc deficiency can lead to thymic atrophy. So that means that there's going to be nowhere for the T cells to train and to mature. Reducing numbers in CD4 and CD8 T cells, which are actually the T cells that kill tumors. Therefore, impaired cell-mediated immunity and even increased oxidative stress. But excessive zinc can also suppress immune signaling as well, so balance is key. Also, excessive zinc can also interfere with copper balance. That's because zinc and copper, there is a ratio for those two minerals, and the ratio has to be right, or the balance between zinc and copper. Zinc also helps stabilize epithelial barriers in the gut, because zinc affects tight junction proteins called occludin and claudin. So zinc enhances occludin expression, also protects against lipopolysaccharide induced barrier disruption. Since most of the immune system is located in the gut, this is another reason why zinc is needed, but not in excess. And zinc also modulates different claudins, so claudin 1, claudin 3, and claudin 4, preventing leaky gut. Also, mineral transporters for many different kinds, like vitamin C transporters, copper transporters, are located in the gut, but the gut must be tight with the gut junction proteins claudin and occludin so that the vitamins for those transporters are not deficient. Because if they are, then that's going to lead to a lot of other issues, such as a copper deficiency is going to lead to iron not being metabolized correctly. And copper also indirectly affects magnesium transporters as well. So magnesium is needed for potassium levels, because a potassium deficiency cannot be fixed without a magnesium uh, in the mix, because potassium is responsible for GLUT4, so that the GLUT4 is like an arm in the cell. It comes out and then grabs the blood sugar from the bloodstream and pulls it into the cell. This is so that tumors cannot get blood glucose via angiogenesis or blood vessels, because tumors, they can get um, glucose, especially if it's excessive, from the bloodstream via the blood vessels, because tumors, they also upregulate their own GLUT1 and GLUT3. They use those glutes to absorb glucose from the bloodstream via the blood vessels from angiogenesis. But if excessive turmeric or curcumin lowers zinc too much, then that will eventually lead to a potassium deficiency, and then the tumors will end up getting the glucose as a fuel source. So that's why it's important to keep zinc levels adequate for the occludin and claudin in the gut, to keep the gut tight and not leaky, so that the transporters for magnesium are able to function, to keep potassium levels adequate as well, to keep excessive blood glucose out of the bloodstream. Okay, so angiogenesis is the blood vessels that supplies glucose to tumors, but curcumin in turmeric also reduces angiogenesis. So, uh, keeping a balanced curcumin, enough curcumin to reduce blood glucose transfer to tumors with no blood vessels, but at the same time keeping enough zinc, but without suppressing it too much with too much curcumin, is having a double effect against cancer. Another reason that curcumin must reduce excessive zinc is that too much zinc will lower copper too much, and then the iron in the lysosomal membrane will not be processed correctly. Uh, or the iron could even become trapped in the macrophages, and that's another way that tumors grow, because tumors have the ability to extract iron from the macrophages. And the macrophages, they cannot export the iron without ferroportin, which is an iron exporter, and copper is responsible for that exporter. But copper, if copper's too low because of excessive zinc, then of course the iron will stay trapped in the macrophages, and then the tumors will receive the iron. So that's caused by excessive zinc. So curcumin can also help um, get excessive iron exported out of macrophages, so that tumors do not receive the iron. And curcumin does that by reducing excessive zinc. So that ends of the video. If you want more future videos, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.